Hello, everybody. I'm Mel Dorr, the Aloha Shirt Psychic, and welcome to Morning Moments with Mel. It's been a minute since I've done this. I always then want to come back to it, but things got busy. We went to Africa and then we just got back, and it's getting caught up. Anyway, there's a few things that I do want to touch on. I Linda Grindle was on my show yesterday, and I always love doing morning moments. I'm sorry, I always love doing Mondays with Linda and Mel. Tonight, I've got a live show with Psychic Arthur. And then after that, a live show for my members only, Aloha Oracle. Wednesday, hopefully, Kim Copeland. Thursday, Kevin Chandler and myself. Friday, I don't know. Anyway, I just thought I'd do this quick video. There's been so much going on. And it's as my friend Beverly Kirby says, she's a wonderful medium. Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. My guides had said the same thing. And the first thing I want to touch on is Judge Eileen Cannon's decision to dismiss the charges against Trump. What a misuse of the judicial system. If she thinks she's going to be on the Supreme Court, she had better think again. In fact, my guides have always shown me, number one, that she's going to be removed from this case. Hallelujah. And number two, that she would, in some way or another, try to dismiss this case. And I've been saying it all. I've said it publicly, and I'm saying it again. Here we are. My guides had shown me that. And I also said that for a while, it would look as if, Trump will score a few wins, but just because he wins a few battles does not mean he'll win the war. My guides continue to assure me that justice will be done and that our democracy will prevail. And that our union will stand. Abraham Lincoln, when I was at his tomb, that came through so loud and clear. At any rate, it astounds me, but I was thinking about this last night and my psychic light bulb went on. I was watching Linda Grindle, actually. Hi, Linda. And I just had this just flash. So there were two senators. I cannot think of their names. And they had asked the Department of Justice to launch an investigation into Clarence Thomas and Alito because of their so-called misdeeds. So shortly thereafter, that's when Clarence Thomas came out and said, oh, it's illegal. It could be illegal for the Department of Justice to hire an outside investigator or prosecutor, that they should have to work in the Department of Justice, whatever he said. And it dawned on me, my psychic light bulb went on, the only reason Clarence Thomas said that was because he knew that his rear end was going to be in a sling. He knew that. So that's why he came forward and said that, because these senators had asked the DOJ to hire a special prosecutor. I watched Glenn Kirshner, and Glenn Kirshner feels that actually this decision by Eileen Cannon is going to hurt Trump. And I feel the same way. I psychically feel the same way. Clarence Thomas, I don't know if he sent a note to Eileen Cannon, but she had been looking for ways, after delaying this case, kicking the can down the road and doing everything she could do to let Trump off the hook. And we know that she's in, at least eye into it, entertainment purposes only, that she is in Trump's hip pocket, the same as Clarence Thomas. But that I am picking up that it's going to come out that Trump's defense team had met with certain justices on SCOTUS about the whole immunity thing, and also behind the scenes even talked to some of them about uh, this whole legality of Jack Smith being appointed as a special prosecutor. So, also in my psychic opinion, I'm sure that there was a note sent to the Trump team and also some way or another to Eileen Cannon, because when Clarence Thomas said that, which he should never have said, uh, he should never be giving an opinion on a case before it comes to SCOTUS, and it just shows how slanted he is. And he knew exactly what he was doing. It sent Eileen Cannon the message, oh, well, now you have recourse or a reason to dismiss the charges against Trump. Well, and I think in her 90-page, 94-page, probably rambling decision, she referred to Clarence Thomas. She made reference to his remark. But that case, that nothing had ever been heard by the court. So by her using that as a reference point to dismiss this case, ooh, I see Jack Smith obviously filing an appeal to the 11th Circuit Court, and they are going to overturn Eileen Cannon's decision. And I see her being taken off this case because it's clear that she's prejudicial. She's going to say she's not, but it's clear she is, specifically when she referred to Clarence Thomas. It's going to be a wild rodeo. My fear was that then the 11th Circuit Court, well, it wasn't my fear, but that the 11th Circuit Court would overturn Eileen Cannon's decision and then have another judge appointed, which is what I see. But then Trump's team is going to appeal this to the Supreme Court, to SCOTUS. Now, Linda Grindle said it will be a nothing burger if it goes to SCOTUS, if those justices are smart, and I pray that Linda's right. If those justices are smart, they will kick that case back down to the 11th Circuit Court, because Clarence Thomas has already sent public message that he's made up his mind as to how he would rule. I think, Kavanaugh might rule to uphold Eileen Luce Cannon's decision, but the other justices, and maybe Alito, but the other ones I feel would say, no, it's going to go back down to the 11th Circuit Court. Here again, I kind of thought that the 11th Circuit Court would maybe wait and to make up their mind on this, but until right after the Supreme Court meets again, because I think, well, I could be wrong on that, but only because then if the Supreme Court decided to hear the case, they wouldn't be able to make a decision on it until after the election. But my feeling is that case will come to trial. I see Trump convicted, as rightfully he should be. Let the justice system decide. And what also hit me, and I see a new judge who I feel is probably appointed by a Republican, but a judge that would be totally impartial, a lot like Judge Merchan, and not put up with any shenanigans, and a lot like Judge Chutkan. So this is just another, it looks like it's a win for Trump, but actually at the end of the day, it will help bring his demise, because my guides tell me justice will be done. I have to chuckle, because when there was a special prosecutor appointed to look into Biden, that prosecutor did not work for the DOJ, I don't think. I forgot the guy's name. So it amazes me the double standards that are used. Now, Clarence Thomas, let me get back to that. By him sending that message to Eileen Cannon, and I do see there was some kind of note as well, but by him sending that message to her, he thought that it would establish a legal precedent so that if uh, there was a special prosecutor appointed to look into him, that it would set a legal precedent. And then if it went to the Supreme Court, they would have recourse to say, no, there's a legal precedent here, and we're going to say that future prosecutors, special prosecutors, were appointed illegally. My feeling on this is that all the DOJ has to do is to hire Jack Smith. And I think that's exactly what they will do. And so therefore, if they do that, they don't have to go through all the hoopla. They don't have to go through everything of hiring, or reassigning the case to someone within the DOJ. My feeling is they'll hire Jack Smith. Maybe as a subcontractor, I don't know. But I find it amazing that they didn't say anything about the special prosecutor that was appointed to look into Biden. Clarence Thomas shut his mouth about that, didn't he? Because they knew that they didn't have anything on Biden anyway. They were just trying to make it look bad. So I understand that Clarence Thomas is in the hospital, and I see Clarence Thomas off the court. I also see 2 impeachments of Supreme Court justices for under the table dark money and for predetermining these cases. And it's going to come out through some clerks and things like that work for these justices, that in fact they did meet with the Trump team before the Supreme Court heard this whole immunity thing. Certain justices did. And my feeling is that's going to come out, and I see indictments against justices, and I see impeachment, and I see 2 of them off the court. I also see at some point 13 justices, and the new court after the election is going to overturn everything that this court overturned. Does that make sense? I see Roe v. Wade being upheld again. I see women's rights being codified. I see LGBTQ rights being codified. I see this whole presidential immunity thing that this court decided being overturned. This court, with the exception of 3 justices, will go down as the absolute worst court and corrupt court in American history. It just shows me that this court, or at least 6 of the justices, have totally misabused their judicial powers. They didn't even hear the merits of that immunity case. So I see legislation coming out to prevent this sort of thing from happening again in SCOTUS. And I see something or another put in place, don't quite know what it is, that can override a decision by SCOTUS. I see term limits coming for Supreme Court justices. And I see a whole thing of ethics. In other words, a whole code of ethics that they have to follow. And if they don't, they can be off the court. The other thing I want to talk about really quick is this shooter that happened at the Trump rally. In my psychic opinion, I don't feel that Trump was hit by a bullet. As we've been saying, if a bullet had hit his ear, it would have taken his ear off. My guides show me it was shrapnel. And it's just sad that we live in a country that when we disagree with somebody, then we want to take a gun and go shoot them. That speaks multitudes about where this country, the dilemma has gotten itself into. And the reason I feel we're in this dilemma is because there are politicians, or not even politicians, people like Donald Trump, who go out and preach violence and who go out and talk about insurrection and who talk about fight and who talk about, um, when there's ultra right wing Nazis marching and a car runs and one of those people take a car and kill a bunch of innocent people, that Trump says there were nice people uh, marching in that. Nice people wouldn't be carrying torches and chanting death to Jews. They just wouldn't do that. Um, so I think this is a reminder that we need to take a look at the violence in this country. And in my opinion, it is unacceptable and has gotten out of hand. My feeling, there's a couple questions I have. I do not think that this was staged whatsoever. Now, other people in the community might say it is. My guides tell me it was not. I won't read on what other readers say. I just don't. I get my own stuff. Um, but I do have some questions. It's like, how did he get on the roof? How did he purchase a weapon? He was a Republican, and I think he was a radicalized MAGA. And I'm thinking that he was delusional and paranoid, and in his thinking, maybe that Trump hadn't done enough, or that, uh, as Linda Grindle said, and I agree with it, that he wanted to start a civil war. That's delusional thinking. But also, well, so is Trump's thinking delusional. But Trump knows exactly what he's doing. And this just goes to show how powerful that some of these messages can be, and how, if not careful, it does incite violence. So Trump was a victim of his own rhetoric. He really was. You got to be really careful with that. Words are powerful, powerful things. I do think, though, that, and Linda disagrees with me on this, but she and I love each other. We're like, she's this, she calls me, uh, uh, how do you say, a brother from a different mother. Um, and I call her a sister from a different mister. We're really close. And I honor our friendship. We're like family, actually. We are family. But anyway, she's, my statement is I think in this guy's delusion that maybe he thought that this Trump was an imposter and he was going to take out the imposter so the real Trump could come forward. Who knows? But Linda disagrees with me on that. But the one thing we do agree on is that the guy wanted to start a civil war. And I have said that if a MAGA were the victim of gun violence, they would be on the bandwagon immediately about some form of gun control. We'll see how that plays out. There's been so many mass shootings in this country and so many opportunities for us to have effective gun control. And nobody's trying to take away anybody's guns. We just don't need AK-47 assault weapons to go hunting. No, those weapons are made to kill people. We don't need those for the same reason that we can't own rocket launchers and grenade launchers and tanks. Anyway, I think the FBI will release a lot about this guy. So now to the Republican convention, I see a few little outbreaks of violence there, but not a lot. And my feeling is it's going to feel very disjointed. I have to go with Kevin Chandler because he predicted successfully that Trump would pick J.D. Vance as his running mate. And I think that's going to scare a lot of people, a lot of women as well. So, Kevin, congratulations on that. You hit it, buddy. You got it right. Anyway, so my feeling is the Democratic convention in Chicago will run very smoothly. There'll be a few hiccups, but it's not going to be like the Democratic convention in 1968 with all the rioting and violence. That's not going to happen. I'm sure, though, that there will be a few agitators brought in to try to steer things up, but it will not work. So anyway, Trump is going to try to get a lot of mileage on, oh, I was shot, I was shoot. And Linda Grindle brought this up. Have you noticed that nobody's coming forward to say that it was a bullet that hit his ear or shrapnel? They already know what hit his ear. It was shrapnel. But I see the FBI issuing a full report, and pretty much true. So here again, I call for gun control. We don't need AK-47s. And the Supreme Court, what do they call them? Bump stocks, just made a decision that those can be legal. Well, here's what happened. You see the outcome of that decision. By the way, that'll be overturned as well. And at some point, I see a ban on assault weapons again. I see the fair doctrine being reinstated. So that, and I see a lot of these news stations, so-called news stations, being sued for not telling the truth and being held accountable. So anyway, there's going to be a lot more things coming. And as I said, it's going to look like Trump might even score a few more wins. But remember, he will not win the war. Okay. I still see him indicted on more charges. In fact, my feeling is Jack Smith is going to bring more charges about the documents that they found after Trump was president. So Trump can't go with presidential immunity on that because Trump took them after he was voted out. So, and I see a different judge. Trump's lawyers are going to try to overturn the 34 counts in New York, the felony counts. That will not fly. Not under presidential immunity, it won't, because he did those things before he was president. He's going to lose on appeal on that one. He might try to take it to SCOTUS, but as Linda Grindle would say, that will probably be a nothing burger as well. So his convictions are going to hold up there. He's also broken the gag order because after he caught the shrapnel, he on I think X or something or Truth Media, whatever it was, he came forward and said that it's the Democrats that are responsible for this, that that the Democrats are the one that's trying to create an insurrection. The Democrats were the ones that did all of that. It was that his trial was a witch hunt, that the woman, he didn't say her name, but the woman that made these charges, he had never met, he didn't know her, he had never talked to her. So in a roundabout way, he vilified that witness. And in my opinion, I'm not an attorney, but that is breaking the gag order. And Judge Merchan is going to call him back in. Trump now thinks he's above the law because it's the ruling of SCOTUS on the immunity, but he's not. And he's going to have to pay the piper, and he's going to have to pay dearly. That's what my guides tell me. So everybody relax, take a deep breath, breathe. But we cannot and must not take for granted that Biden is going to win this election. I do see Biden winning. However, that is contingent upon every single one of you getting out to vote. We cannot have voter apathy. You must get out and vote. We can't sit on our laurels. We have to speak up against these injustices that the MAGAs are putting down our throats. We have to speak up for women's rights to their bodies. We have to speak up for our individual rights that the MAGAs are taking away from us. Our right to free press, our right to free speech. Our democracy is still in danger, and it's up to us to make sure that it survives. I feel it will survive, but buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. Okay, welcome to Morning Moments with Mel. By the way, our Chicago event, I think we've only got 8 or 9 more openings. When Aiden put up the promo, at that point we had like 14 or 15 openings. Now we've got like 7 or 8, I think. I forget how many we've got, but we still got availability. So if you're interested, please call my office, 847-590-5411. All right. Uh, I'll be here maybe tomorrow morning with another Morning Moments with Mel, or the day after, depending on what's going on. And let's um, it'll be interesting to see how the Republican convention plays out. All right. Stay well. Oh, and by the way, I see Wisconsin going purple. All right. Stay well, stay safe, and aloha, namaste. And thank you so much for your wonderful support.